Red Bull are entering the 2025 season on their back foot despite the increased wind tunnel time, as it looks like the Austrian team will struggle a lot to generate the same success they did in the Drivers' Championship as last year. With the car not being nearly where it's supposed to be, the team now has a lot to worry about for the future as well, with 2026's engine not looking very promising either. With all this in mind, could this be the start of the downfall of Red Bull? And if so, is it the first indicator that Verstappen will search for another home in F1? One of the most intriguing stories in Formula 1 is the downfall of Red Bull, as it seems like the Austrian squad haven't been able to find a solution for the 2024's concept that was originally dubbed to wipe the competition until the new regulations start. All it did, however, was create more and more issues, as the upgrades didn't work a single bit, and the departure of high-profile figures like Newey, Courtenay and Wheatley didn't help the situation at all. Amidst the internal drama, though, Verstappen found himself in a no-man's field and managed to seal the championship in a very thrilling manner, but nevertheless, this is highly unlikely to happen in 2025. Pierre Wash, the technical director of Red Bull, has spoken positively about the wind tunnel time that his team has to spend with both of the cars in the following year, but has also stressed that if it's not used in the right direction, then it could create havoc on the grid. When talking about it to a greater extent, Pierre said, "It is potentially a big advantage for 2026, and I hope that we use it properly. That is not how it works in Formula 1, but it could be an advantage and we have to use it well. It is a positive aspect of our position, so it can be quite positive." Of course, the goal for Red Bull would be divided between 2025 and 2026 thanks to the increased wind tunnel time that would see another allocation on 23rd of June when the Canadian GP is set to take place, based on how the constructors' standings would be at the time. First, it's obvious that they will spend the majority of the wind tunnel time to develop the 2025 Challenger, and it's been made no secret that the team wants to utilise as much as they can from this year's car and give Verstappen an opportunity to fight for the Drivers' Championship. But the four-time world champion is not very hopeful that they could fight for the championship with this development rate, and now he's come up with a statement that the team needs to be very careful when it comes to approaching the 2025 season. Max is going to be battling with a new teammate who is very unlikely to challenge him for a greater position in the team, but on the other hand, he will have two teams who will pose great threats to his championship defence, Ferrari and McLaren. They will have two strong pair-ups of drivers who are going to do nothing less than aim for the championship in the Drivers' Championship, and whether Red Bull likes it or not, they might not be in the league of these two teams. And what is not talked about enough right now, with all the right causes because it might be a bit early, is the 2026 engine development program. This is an area in which Red Bull are not very comfortable with, and the fact that they're going to be rookies along with Audi could put them in a situation where they would be in the midfield because of the lack of development of their engine program. The Austrian team has always been known for developing a great aerodynamic platform to work on, but on the other hand, it's the first time that they will compete with their own engine, so that it puts a lot more pressure on the team to deliver the needed results for both Max and Lawson. Furthermore, it would give them the long-awaited answer as to whether or not Verstappen would remain in the team, as Max has been adamant that a non-competitive car is a no-go for him regarding remaining in Formula 1. Even though the team has met some issues regarding the 2026 engine development program, and with Red Bull expecting the pecking order to be tight with McLaren and Ferrari pouring money and resources into the 2025 engine, as well as wind tunnel time, is a very important thing that they need to take care of. Elaborating further on this, Wash said, "The balancing act will depend massively on what you find as well. If you find a lot for 2026, then the temptation is there to put a lot of effort on 2026. But if we have a chance to fight for the championship in 2025, and I think we will, then you will never throw away a championship. It will be a difficult decision for sure. We will go with a strategy at the beginning of the season, and that strategy has a massive chance to change." That, however, might not work for Verstappen, because he won't be willing to listen to excuses as to why the car is not living up to the expectations and why it's not where it's supposed to be in terms of performance. This could definitely alter the future of the four-time world champion, and when talking about the approach of Red Bull in 2025, Verstappen has issued a cautious warning that they might not be where the fans hope to see them, as he went on to say, "Freedom for me is just being at home and not having to worry about doing the next thing on my schedule, and Monaco is the place I call home. It's where I can relax and do my own thing. This year, I am looking forward to seeing how competitive we can be. Once you get a bit of a picture of how competitive you are, you can start to set a target." And it would be easy to assume that Red Bull would put all of their trust in Verstappen to extract the absolute maximum out of the car, even when it's not in the best operating window, which has been talked about by one of Max's engine engineers. Callum Nicholas has worked with Max ever since 2016, and he has developed immense respect for the four-time world champion over their shared time together. And when talking about how he is able to deliver extraordinary performances out of the car when it's not looking as strong as we hope, he said, Verstappen's awareness of what else is going on in a race, his ability to sort of control a race is exceptional. He does everything well, and the thing you've seen in past champions is that it's not just about one bit of talent or speed or whatever, it's that they manage everything in the paddock so well. In terms of watching Max mature into that guy that seems untouchable, it seems to us that he is very special. Unfortunately for Callum and everyone else in Red Bull, this exceptional performance from Max might not be guaranteed forever, because there does seem to be a situation in which the four-time world champion could leave the team and join another squad if Red Bull's competitiveness proves to be poor. That is not a far-fetched scenario, to say the least, because rumours like this have been further fueled by his father Jos Verstappen, who stated that his son won't be part of a team that can't build a race-winning car. On the other hand, Max kept his words behind his mouth and said that this is something that would be discussed behind closed curtains, same as Horner did. When elaborating further on the future of the four-time world champion, the team principal of Red Bull said, honestly, Max is his own man. From all the conversations that have been covered by the media, it's clear that he doesn't see himself being an Alonso or Hamilton and around the sport for the next 15 years or so. He's got interests outside of Formula One. He enjoys driving GT cars, simulators, LMP cars. He is very old school in many respects in that he just wants to drive, and some of the noise and circus around F1 doesn't sit comfortably with him. I think that so long as he's getting the enjoyment out of what he does, he'll drive in F1, but as soon as that enjoyment drops, he's got the strength of character and personality to say, do you know what, I am going to go and drive GTs next year. But as we all know, this could easily happen if Red Bull do not have the strongest machinery, or at least one of the strongest, to compete on the grid in the following period, and Red Bull could be the side that would put Max in a position to choose from another team. Driving a car that is unable to compete at the front and winning a championship with the third fastest competitor is very unlikely to happen again in Max's career, and now that the engineers have thrown a lot of blind eyes to his feedback regarding the car's behaviour because he was winning races with it, are going to affect where Max does end up in the newly regulated era. With all this in mind, and with the expected struggles of Red Bull regarding 2026, do you think that Max will leave Red Bull, and more importantly, where do you think he will be headed if the opportunity arises for him? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in the newest 2025 rule change in the sport and in Mercedes' latest development of events that puts them in the championship fight in 2025, make sure to check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.